The movie opens with a little boy called Andre Davis attending the funeral of his father. His father, Officer Reginald Davis, had been killed in the line of duty, leaving Andre with just his mother, Reginald, who was killed during an attack by 3 men, 2 of whom he killed himself, but he sadly claimed victim to the last man. He is glad that Reginald's little boy Andre possesses the same traits as his father. Andre had grown up to be a detective with a reputation for tracking and killing criminals who kill cops. During an interview with IA, Internal Affairs, he lets them know that being a cop isn't a choice he had to make, but it was his DNA. He was brought in for his most recent shootings. He had killed 8 people in his career as a detective. But Andre tells them that he has been cleared of all shootings and he doesn't show any remorse for the people he has killed. He carries his father's legacy with him and must make sure justice is being carried out to cop killers. Anytime he's away from work, he makes sure he visits his sick mother, who is cared for by a nurse. She suffers from dementia and sometimes mistakes Andre to be Reginald, her husband, as she still hasn't recovered from the incident. Later that night, 2 amateur criminals, Ray Jackson and Michael Trujillo, go to steal 30 kilograms of cocaine from a rival drug lord at a wine shop. When they get there, they meet up with the shop assistant, who they held at gunpoint. They demand to know where the drugs are kept. He warns them that they are making a terrible mistake, but they beat him up. After they find out the location of the drugs, they are stunned to find 300 kilograms of cocaine. Ray sees this as a jackpot, but Michael is afraid of the possibilities. They aren't even equipped to carry much weight. They decide to take 50 kilos of cocaine, but on their way out they discover that some cops had come to scout the area. When the cops notice that there is a robbery in progress, they breach open the wine shop, and a heavy gun battle ensues between them. Ray opens fire on them. We find out that Ray is a ruthless killer, while Michael couldn't even hurt a fly. Ray shoots and kills a few before the 2 make their getaway. As they are about to escape, a squad car rams into them, making them step out of the vehicle for another battle. During this intense heat, Ray kills more and more cops in a bid to get away. Michael is terrified by this, and Ray worsens the situation by running a red light, capturing their image on camera. Detective Andre is brought to the crime scene with Deputy Chief Spencer, where Captain Matt McKenna of the 85th Precinct is also there, mourning the loss of 7 NYPD police officers. His men were also on the scene as they mourn their colleagues. Captain McKenna dreads breaking the news to their families, so he asks Andre to live up to his reputation and continue his father's legacy by doing whatever it takes to catch these cop killers. McKenna also brings in a narcotics detective named Frankie, due to it being the biggest cocaine seizure in a very long time. Although Andre doesn't want to work with her as he believes he might lose the criminals if he doesn't go straight to his work, McKenna's stubbornness means he works with her. The criminals arrive at their getaway location. Michael confronts Ray for killing that many cops. He tells Ray that they will be wanted all over the city and before sunrise, they might eventually get caught. They needed money to run away and escape for good. While analyzing the scene of the incident, Detective Andre speculates that the criminals were only 2 and then recognizes the second man as a talented killer. The criminals meet with their local buyer Bush, and after confronting him for misinformation, they request that they meet directly with his employer Hawk. They needed much money to flee, so they changed the deal. Back at the security headquarters, they receive an alert of the criminal's location through the red cam, so they call in Detective Andre to update him on the situation. After going through the captured criminals, Andre suspects that this might be a setup as they weren't expecting that much cocaine or even cops. Just then FBI agents Butchko and Andy arrive at the scene. They try to muscle their way into the case, which puts Andre on edge. Knowing that the men behind the murders will be working quickly to get themselves out of the city, he knows that due to the wait, the criminals will deal with their local buyers here on the island, so Andre requests that the agents contact the mayor to allow them to close off the city and all the 21 bridges in Manhattan. Although the FBI sees this as ridiculous, but then they give in and give Andre until 5 a.m. to catch the killers. The city is being put on lockdown, the tunnels are blocked and every subway station and transit is shut down as no one could get in or out of the city. The police heads over to the getaway car location and discovered that the BMW had been burnt. There weren't any local cameras to identify the cars that moved after the incident. Frankie tells Andre not to hesitate in killing the criminals. She tells him that 7 dead police officers are enough just cause to kill these cop killers. She needs to know if Andre do have her back, which he affirms. Ray and Michael go on to meet with their employer Hawk. There they see news indicating that they are the most wanted currently. After Hawk confirms that the drug is authentic, they chastise him for not telling them exactly how much cocaine the other dealer was holding. That had been informed 30 kilos and not 300 kilos. Michael asks for $1 million, although Hawks laughs it off at first, claiming Michael doesn't even know the asking price. He manages to convince Hawk by giving him the actual value of the cocaine, saying he will still have $5.4 million to himself, so $1 million was a reasonable price. So they agreed to $1 million each for their troubles. Meanwhile, the detectives track the license plate number of the criminal's car to an apartment. After searching the place with a warrant, they accost the couple living there until it's made known that the woman, Lee, is the ex-girlfriend of the car's owner, Toriano Bush, who had helped Ray and Michael. Lee tells them that Bush wouldn't have killed the cops, because he is just a small-time criminal and not a cop killer. They show her cam images of the two robbers asking her to identify them. On the other hand, Hawk refers Michael and Ray to Audie, a reputable cleaner who can create new identities for them and wire their money to offshore accounts. The scene switches back to Andre investigating Lee. She identifies Ray as the criminal, while Michael is the younger brother of Ray's old army friend who was blown up in Afghanistan. Michael had gone rogue after the death of his brother, with Ray vowing to protect and keep him safe. Their names and faces are spread over the news, which leads the men to realize that they are doomed and they need a new plan to get out of the city. They take the cash and go on to meet Audie. They hand over the cash to Audie, who is ready to put it in a safe, but Ray doesn't trust him. He holds him at gunpoint, questioning his sincerity. Michael tries to talk sense into him. He tells Ray that there is no plan B and they can't keep moving around with 100 pounds of stained cash while the police are after them. They needed to wire the money to an offshore account and Audie is their only hope right now. The police match the location of Bush and then send out men to arrest him. Butchko and Dugan locate Bush in a nightclub. They alert him and barely give him time to react before Butchko shoots and kills him. Just then Andre and Frankie arrive at the scene. He confronts them for killing Bush, saying he's just a suspect and not the killer. Butcho claims that Bush drew his weapon on them first. He instigates a fight with Andre that leads to Andre socking him in the face. Andre also managed to catch Butchko planting a gun on Bush. Meanwhile, Audie gives the criminals new identities and directions on taking separate buses to Miami to avoid being caught by the police. Just as they are conversing, a team of cops led by Lieutenant Kelly starts banging on the front door. When Audie goes to check and asks what precinct they are from, Kelly shoots him in the eye through the peephole before they start exchanging gunfire. They call for backup as Ray shoots back. Audie lets Michael know about 2 flash drives, as well as the password for accessing them, before he succumbs to his wound and dies. As the cops got into the apartment, Michael and Ray had already gotten out. Just as they ran out of the building, the detective sights them and tracked Ray and Michael to a building in the meatpacking district. They split up to avoid being caught easily. Unfortunately, Andre catches Ray and gets him in a standoff. Ray, ready to shoot thinking Andre will walk by any moment, accidentally shoots a civilian walking by before Andre fatally shoots Ray. As he dies, Ray tells Andre that Michael isn't like him. Andre and Burns then find Michael in the freezer, but Michael overpowers her and then holds Burns at gunpoint, using her as a shield. Frankie tells Andre to shoot, but he attempts to talk him down. Michael tells him about the suspicions involving the cops in the case, such as the deliberate omission of information regarding how much cocaine they were to steal, and the shop assistant checking his watch as if he was waiting for someone to show up, as well as how Kelly and his men just opened fire into Audie's apartment without a word. Michael retreats and lets Burns go. He barricades the door with a screwdriver as he escapes. Burns scolds Andre for not shooting Michael when he had the chance. Michael sneaks into a hotel, follows up a man, and then forces the man at gunpoint to let him use the computer to access the flash drives. He knocks him out as he accesses the flash. Captain McKenna, on the other hand, praises Andre for killing Ray, but Andre knows something isn't right. Just as he is about to question McKenna, the FBI walks in and reminds him that he just has an hour left. Michael discovers documents of everyone involved in the drug ring, including cops from the 85th precinct. He finds out that they were all part of the drug trafficking and each cop had a badge number on the file. He shaves his beard as he starts to make his way out of the building until he is spotted by cops. The detectives hear the report and hurriedly rush after Michael. He runs through the subway, and even after being hit by cars multiple times, Michael still stands up and continues running, with Andre running after him. After getting away from the other pursuing cops, Andre corners Michael in an empty subway train. They engage in another standoff. This time Andre tries to convince Michael to give up his gun, saying there was no way out anymore and he could help him. Just as Michael is handing his gun over, Burns shows up and fatally shoots Michael. With his dying breaths, he discreetly slips Andre the flash drives. Andre becomes very furious as he yells at Burns for killing him. He meets with the other cops who congratulate him and Burns for catching the criminals. Andre pretends to need to use Burns's phone and discovers she was in contact with the Lower Manhattan Security Initiative as he was earlier, which means she let Kelly get the drop on Audie and thereby incriminates her in the whole scheme. The following morning, Captain McKenna goes home to find Andre sitting there with a gun pointed at him. He exposes all his dirty secrets. McKenna admits to his guilt in the drug and money laundering ring, along with a few of the cops who were killed by Ray. His reason is that the cops deserved better pay and went into the drug business. Andre shows no sympathy, as the surviving criminal who killed his father claimed to be so high that he didn't remember committing the murder. Moments later, Kelly, Butchko, and Dugan show up armed and ready to kill Andre. He kills Kelly through the window while taking out Butchko and Dugan in the house. Andre shoots McKenna and gives him a chance to surrender, but he fails and gets a headshot. Burns then shows up and aims her gun at Andre. He tells her that no matter what she does, he already copied the drives and exposed her and the other officers' culpability. He reminds her that if she kills him, she will get life in prison and her daughter will grow up without her. Burns, realizing that it was of no use, tearfully surrenders, and Andre escorts her outside to get arrested as other cops arrive. The film concludes with Andre driving through one of the reopened bridges, finally able to go home. The end. If you love this video, please leave a like and subscribe.